So it's also good to have a practice that involves no choices whatsoever. Not even a choice as to directing what's happening in attention. So some people call this choiceless awareness. Some people call it just sitting. Some people call it the great perfection in Tibetan Dzogchen, or the grand symbol in Sanskrit Mahamudra. There's different ways of describing it. I like to call it do nothing. That's just my name for it. So there is a way to do nothing, a conceptual framework. Needless to say, because the verb do and nothing don't go together, there are some subtleties as to what this all refers to. The do nothing technique is designed with time. I cannot overemphasize that phrase. With time, not when you practice it at a given occasion, but with time. It is designed to create a sensitivity for a certain circuit in human consciousness. The circuit that controls attention. And it sets up an environment wherein that circuit will turn itself off for a while. If you try to turn it off, obviously, that's not going to exactly work, is it? Because you're trying to turn off, you have to keep it on in order to try to turn it off. The do nothing technique doesn't involve your hand turning off yourself. Right? It sets up a situation where nature will grow that hand, reach around and turn off the robot itself for a brief period of time. At some point, you and the world will come back. So nothing bad at all will happen. You don't have to be afraid. So that's one way to look at the do nothing technique. With time, it will set the stage. You'll develop a sensitivity for the part of that controls attention. And it's a very, very, very important part. And then once that sensitivity is developed, it will for periods of time turn. A lot of people report when I ask them about their experience in practice. Well, I can't decide what to do. That's a great experience.
Perfect consciousness, but superimposed on that is through, if I can use the word, the tidal wave of bull that goes through the world.
It's cable, you can say that.
Yeah, so there's this, we're being barraged by, by bull. But not only that, the way the world is structured, or the way creation is structured, we have duality, which says yes, no, good, bad, loss, gain, birth, death. And it's this circle that you get trapped in. It's like the Memphis Blues again. And that's the hardest thing to understand. What is causing both of these things? What's causing day and night, good and bad? It's all the cause, and this is the effect. So, I mean, we're getting really transcendental here, but to say that our physical being is really on a very, very subtle level, it's just like the sap in a tree is the sap, and it runs throughout all the parts of the tree. Now, it's like that. Our bodies are manifesting into physical bodies, but the cause, the sap, is pure consciousness, pure awareness, and that is perfect knowledge, but we have to tap into that. I mean, the four of us all experienced the thing, and in a way we gained strength and supported each other in the turmoil. But yeah, I think fame is a good thing in terms of giving you heightened experience, or at least more experience, and but then it's what you do with that, or what that uncovers. I think for me, you know, as I say, I realize I want to, you know, I just want more. This isn't it, you know. Fame is not the goal. Money, you know, although money's nice to have, it can buy you a bit of freedom, you know, you can go to the Bahamas when you want, but it's not the answer. And the answer, you know, is how to get peace of mind and how to be happy. That's really what we're supposed to be here for. And the difficult thing is that we all go through our lives and through our days, and we don't experience bliss. And you know, it's a very subtle thing, and to experience that and to be able to know how to do that is something you don't just stumble across. You've got to search for it.
Did you experience bliss on stage or in the studio? In a way, did performing put you in touch with that bliss?
Well, we had happiness at times, and but you know, not the kind of bliss I mean, where like every atom of your body is just buzzing, you know, because it's beyond the mind. It's like, you know, it's when there's no thought involved. I mean, it's a pretty tricky thing to try to get to that state, because it needs control of the mind and being able to transcend the relative states of consciousness, waking, sleeping, dreaming, which is all we really know. But there is another state, let's say, that goes beyond all that, and it's in that state that's where.
How does weed mixed with meditation, how does the herbs vibrations in the word. I don't know how some people like to give bad, negative connotations to words purposely. You know, like how they do the word black. But speaking on, the herbs, the marijuana, and how that mixes with meditation, your spiritual growth, And I'm gonna speak on it more from my personal experience, and I'll try to add on what I may heard from someone else, But the herbs and meditation is one of the things, where I find the herbs too, depending on the herbs you're smoking and how you're smoking it also. Because I feel like I get more of a grounding and lower vibrational feeling from my herbs if I use tobacco with my herbs. Like if my herbs is rolled up, in some type of tobacco apparatus, cigarillos, cigars, what have you, But when it's mixed with tobacco, I feel like and sometimes it could be a bad thing, like I said, and this me speaking for myself, but when I use the tobacco with the herbs, and say for instance I choose to go into a meditation after that, it has me in a meditative feeling, but it's for sure it has me grounded more, more of a grounded vibration, and it also has me where, say for instance, like where whenever you do things that's reminiscent of your old self, it kind of brings out that vibration. So sometimes, if I was to smoke before meditation, especially if I smoke a lot, because it also what it has to do with too is the volume of smoke. But sometimes, before meditation, if I happen to, smoke a little bit, then the vibration of the old car race start to come out, and it may throw out, like, my old mind, back in those days, I still had a mind that would throw thoughts out, with thoughts like, this today. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause, before I realized what I was and started meditating and all this, thoughts matter of fact, mine used to be racing, And so sometimes when I smoke the herbs with the tobacco, especially a cigar, because also everything is a vibration. So when you use a cigar that isn't, how can I say, because none of the stuff is really healthy in essence, but there are healthier options, you know what I'm saying? And if the vibration of the cigar is like the quality of it is bad, it's a poor quality, you know what I'm saying? That poor quality vibration gets into you, you know what I'm saying? And it pops off while it's in you, so it's gonna make it, for me, make it like that.
When anything comes to mind, it takes on a different form. It just amuses you what forms it takes. Because the yoga, for example, what forms it's taken is well, yesterday somebody sent me a WhatsApp message about how they're propagating beer yoga, okay? So yogis who have drinking problem and drinkers who have yogic problem, they do beer yoga. Okay, like this there are many. So we need to understand this. This is not
when you say meditation, when you say yoga, this is not an Indian thing or an Eastern thing as it is being understood. This is paying attention to the inner nature of who you are, all right? Fortunately, the fundamentals of being human is same fundamentals, doesn't matter which continent you have come from. Though for a long time people have been prejudiced against one against the other, but fundamentally these creatures are made the same way, this entire species is made the same way, okay? On the surface, maybe I'm made of chocolate and you are white chocolate, whatever, okay? That's different. So, we need to understand this. For example, you use the word meditation. You must understand this. These words are being thrown around. The word meditation in English doesn't really mean anything specific. It's too general. If somebody sits with their eyes closed, you will say they're meditating. You know with your eyes closed how many things you can do. Yes or no? So in the yogic parlance, you can do japa, tapa, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, you can fantasize about something or you can just master the art of sleeping in vertical postures. You don't know what you're doing. So, what specific aspects are not there? General, because it's a fashion. It is not an endeavor, it is more a fashion, it's an in thing. You will see people are walking with yoga mat in New York City, you ask them what… they say, today is my yoga day, yesterday was my cycling day, tomorrow is my swimming day. This is not like that. The word yoga means union. Union means, in some way, you learn to obliterate the boundaries of your individuality. Because your individual existence is a fake existence. If you don't understand what I'm saying, close your mouth, hold your nose like this for 2 minutes. You will understand without the larger atmosphere supporting you, you can't exist for a moment. Yes? What you exhale, the trees are inhaling, what the trees exhale, you are inhaling every moment of your life. But this is not there in your experience. Actually, one half of your breathing apparatus are hanging out there. If you experience this, do I have to tell you, don't cut the tree? Do I have to tell you something else like this? To plant the tree? It won't be necessary. If you really experience one half of your lungs is hanging out there, you will know the tree wood, isn't it? If I call you flesh, is it also like that? So calling a living tree as wood, this happened to me. When I was doing literature, we were always studying English poetry and we were introduced to American art. So the first day this teacher
some ways we're almost cataloging our scenarios. So in some ways the study itself is very biased because it's really like, it's not representative of like what's going to happen to anyone. It's like what's sort of worst possible situation.
Yeah.
So right now we've interviewed about 40 teachers and have 30 practitioners that some of them are the teachers that we've interviewed about difficulties. So we have like cognitive, perceptual, and sensory sort of aberrations, emotional difficulties or challenges or just changes that are very maybe disturbing to people. Changes in sense of self was one of the categories, and then any kind of physiological manifestation. So those are like sort of the 4 categories that the different experiences seem to fall into. And actually, as we were going through, there was a 5th one, which was sort of impairment in social relationships. And so they're coping with a lot of this, like high sensitivity to stimuli, very strong emotional reactions, sort of almost hyper-reactive emotions. A lot of times, traumatic memories can be sort of start to erupt through the body, and again, aren't turned off just because the bell rang.
Sure.
It's really important because I have a psychotherapy background and was also trained as a Vipassana teacher. Once a month I would get a phone call or an email from somebody who has come off a retreat from whatever tradition.
Yeah.
And they were falling apart. And at first, when I started meeting them and learning about the physical stuff that was going on for them, or the splitting that was happening, or psychosis, I was trained in a kind of psychological paradigm that what was coming up for them was old memories of trauma or something from their childhood. And then what was becoming more and more peculiar was the more people I started working with, the more I realized that actually wasn't what was coming up. They were people who were really balanced, had done maybe a lot of psychotherapy even, hadn't had a lot of trauma, or if they had, it's been really worked through maturely. And they were having these kind of explosive sometimes temperatures, or they would have like pain in very specific areas of their head that would be like throbbing and then turning into color, or they would have like pains inside their pelvis that would then kind of like shoot up into other areas, and they would see like good osteopaths or whatever who couldn't explain it. In our training as meditation teachers, we need to learn more not just about recognizing trauma, but also how to work with these movements of sensation that are so overwhelming for people, and that traditionally they were ways of working with this. When I was in Asia, one of the things I noticed was when there were students who were having difficulty on retreat, they'd be put in the garden, they'd be put in the kitchen, and they would be told that that's the meditation practice you're working with now.
The practices have been extracted from this larger context and this larger whole that we think of, I mean, just Google meditation. What do you see? Someone sitting, you have to cross-legged, your eyes are probably closed, your hands are in some specific position. If you get pulled out of the retreat center and says, okay, your practice now is position, you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't even meditate. You don't want to be driving yourself in some direction that's not useful for you just because
understanding. When you look out, a golf ball size awareness, and when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball size wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness, and when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi teaches a technique called Transcendental Meditation. It's a simple, easy, effortless technique, yet supremely profound, that allows any human being to dive within, experiencing subtler levels of mind and intellect, and transcend and experience this ocean of pure consciousness. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field. It's at the base of all mind and all matter. And they now say, modern science says, all of matter, everything that is a thing, emerges from this field. And this field has qualities like bliss, intelligence, creativity, universal love, energy, peace. And it's not the intellectual understanding of this field, but the experiencing of it that does everything. You dive within and transcending, experiencing this field of pure consciousness, and you enliven it, you unfold it, it grows. And the final outcome of this growth of consciousness is called enlightenment. And enlightenment is the full potential of all of us human beings. And a side effect of enlivening this consciousness is negativity starts to recede. When I started meditating, I was filled with anxieties, filled with fears, kind of a depression and anger. And I took this anger out on my first wife. And after 2 weeks of meditation, she comes to me and she says, "What's going on?" And I was quiet for a moment because it could have been any number of things she might have been referring to.
But apparently it's to think about things in a non-judgmental way. And of course that means that conscience doesn't really enter into the meditation. As we center on ourselves, if we have dropped notions of judgmentalism, analysis of who we are, then we silence conscience, and we fail to realize that we are in the presence of a holy God, and we need the protection of Christ's righteousness in order to meditate upon God. But I think it creates a mindset that is very opposite to the Christian faith, so that even though you don't use some of the religious terms, you get into the habit of thinking about yourself in a totally autonomous way.
Their breath. How many people felt that even in a few minutes, as they did that, they became so relaxed that maybe they were even drifting off to sleep? How many people had that experience? Please raise your hands. Well, what does that mean? If in 2 minutes you start watching your breath, you get so relaxed, you start to drift off to sleep, what does that mean? It means you need a lot of sleep. Nothing more than that. Your body is telling you, listen, give me 2 minutes, I want to sleep. You know, in this culture, a very scientific explanation of meditation is that it's the relaxation response. It's to relax. The fact is that yogis, ancient seers, the word yogi comes from the same root as the Latin word yoke, which means to unify. the experience of body, mind, and spirit. And the yogis who were the original authors of meditation, these guys were in Himalayas and the caves, they were pretty relaxed to begin with. They weren't trying to relax. They were trying to be more alert. They were trying to eavesdrop on this cosmic mind, on this non-local field of energy and information. And of course, relaxation can be a prelude to that, but please don't think relaxation is the ultimate experience. It's the ultimate experience if we live in a hysterical and melodramatic society. But it's only the prelude to awareness. And awareness is the source of biological information and energy in everything that's alive. The same awareness that filters through this body and creates my world filters through your body and creates another world. Same awareness. And in order to get to that awareness, we have to learn to slip in the space. And when we do that, we eavesdrop on the software and not really runs the machinery of our own body, the software that runs the
Close your eyes and make yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath in through your nose, slowly and gently breathe out through your mouth. Again, take a deep breath in through your nose, slowly and gently breathe out through your mouth. One more time. Deep breath in and slowly and gently breathe out through your mouth. Fantastic. You are doing really well. Now imagine that your feet feel all floppy and loose, but very, very relaxed, almost as if they are falling asleep. Can you feel it? Now imagine all of your body feeling the same way, all floppy and loose. You are feeling so relaxed and so very happy. Now I want you to imagine that you have roots growing out from the soles of your feet. Roots that look just like the roots of a tree. Very long and very wobbly. Now push those roots deep into the ground. And you can hear them growing deeper and deeper. And you can hear them as they push their way through the soil, and it tickles just a little bit. Can you feel it? Can you feel the soil under your feet? This is called grounding. This keeps your energy planted in the ground so that you too can grow big and strong, just like the tree.
Now, this is not a meditation where you need to go. Because sometimes the moment one says meditation, everybody goes. You can't sit like that all the time, but it's always the present moment. So with the present moment meditation, it's something slightly different. It's an amazing thing, the present moment, usually overlooked. So the most amazing thing, I call it thing, of course it's not a thing, the most amazing thing in your life for most people in the normal state of consciousness, and normal means somewhat or very insane. In the normal state of consciousness, the present moment is usually overlooked habitually, unconsciously. People have been conditioned to overlook the most important thing there ever is, because your entire life consists of the present moment. There never has been anything else. Everything happened in the present moment, and when you remember it, it's the present moment. And when you think about the future, which of course never arrives as the future, it can only arrive as the present moment. But people live as if the present moment were undesirable or an obstacle, or they actively dislike it. And some people habitually live actively disliking the isness of the present moment. And that's their normal state of consciousness. Sometimes it's hidden.
He wrote a song once and he said, no matter who you vote for, the government always gets in. And it's like that, you know, in England you always get, as far as I was concerned, the left, the centre and the right, they're all really the same. They're all different shades of the same greyness. And although it was a long shot, you know, Maharishi tried to get these people formed together into a party which would be called the Natural Law Party, which was
the same Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And the idea behind it really is to have consciousness as the basic thing, because if really, you know, we get in government or we get in any situation in life, we get the reflection of our own consciousness. We can't really complain about what we have because that is us. It's a reflection of our own being. Now, if we could have people who are actually conscious in a spiritual sense, then all the underlying problems to society, I mean, it wouldn't be able to change just overnight, but over a generation or 2 generations, you could have things where, for instance, say in England, and I'm sure it's the same here, you get disease. So you've got a lot of expenditure on hospitals and on fixing up people who have disease. Now, the problem is that most doctors, they study disease. They don't know about health. So you'd need to reprogram stuff so that you teach people about how to be healthy. That way, you don't spend so much money on disease. You'd have, people would be healthier. You wouldn't have such a, you know, a requirement for, you know, all the various things that take up all the money. You'd be able to use that money for something else. So the natural law that operates on this planet or in the universe, everything, as I said earlier, everything works in a perfect order. And there's a scheme to things which has a certain intelligence that drives it and makes everything work. Now, if we as individuals
I made sure I prayed to God and I said, if this is something that I should do, then let me do it. If it isn't, then tell me and have me avoid it. Don't have me do it. You get what I mean? And I kept going and I ended up doing it. Okay? So apparently this is something that I'm supposed to be doing. This is the path that I'm supposed to be on. So the thing is, when it comes down to it, I told her, I said, you know, I've never experienced anything like that, opening doors and portals. I know that there's nothing but good that has happened to me from meditation. But just check it out if you get a chance. I'm not going to force it on you. You know what I mean? This is the thing that we have, like, happening in church and things like this. For those of you that are watching that are actually already on this path, had to stop because of something, or you're trying to start. Okay? When I first had went to church and I mentioned it to anybody that I had meditated or anything like that, they would say the same thing. Ooh, you opening in doors. Ooh, you opening in portals. No. You are not opening doors, you are not opening portals. What you're doing is you're becoming more aware. We all vibrate on frequency. We've been taught in church that something, but for a majority it has to be vibration. You are here to be able. So understand that
This word is now becoming so common. Even the governments are beginning to use it. Even the people who want money are trying to meditate more to get more money. They are trying to meditate in order to become quiet so that they can do better business. And the doctors are practicing meditation because they will help them to operate properly, and so on and on and on and on. And there are different kinds of meditations, Zen, Tibetan, and the ones you invent for yourself. And with all this in mind, the Indian type of meditation, the Tibetan, the Zen, the encounter group meditation, and the aspiration to have a quiet, still, quiet, silent mind. Bearing all this in mind, let's try to find out, if we can this morning, why one should meditate and what is the significance of meditation. This word has been recently been popularized from India. And people go to India and to Japan and other places in order to learn meditation, in order to practice meditation, in order to achieve some kind of result to meditation, enlightenment.
You cannot do it. You cannot practice it. You have only to understand it. And whenever you can find time for
of the water, the waves could become the waves of the ocean, the mighty waves. This is what happens in Transcendental Meditation. The surface activity of the conscious mind deepens and incorporates within its fold the depth of the subconscious. And with practice, nothing remains subconscious. The whole subconscious becomes conscious, and a man starts using full potential of the mind. And the reflection of the glacier on the water is like the impression of the objects that the mind perceives. And as long as the mind is not capable of maintaining its essential nature, which is bliss consciousness, so long the mind gets imprinted by the perceptions of the objects, and this is called the bondage of the mind. The mind loses bliss consciousness and gains the joy of the reflection of the world, the joy of the relative world.
I don't believe I have great musical ability or great lyrical ability. And I have a bigger problem than that is because of my influence from Indian music and that whole spirit thing is that I don't see the point to writing most songs. Like most people will write, I could write hundreds of songs, hey baby, what you gonna do? I could churn them out, but I don't want to. If I'm gonna say something, I'd like it to have some kind of importance, some value, so that, in 20 years' time, it's not just some dumb song that made, some royalties. I mean, the royalties are nice, but it would be good to be able to have something a little deeper. And so, it's very difficult that's why the chants of India is much better, because it's all there in Sanskrit. You just say the Sanskrit, and they're all mantras, and they're all prayers, and they all have a spiritual connection. It's much easier than trying to write in English some incredible philosophy or something that has a value. I'm unhappy about the world being concreted over and all the forests chopped down and all the earth polluted, and the fact that the planet is in the control of mad people. People who are crazy, who are greedy, all these people who are selling the rainforest and, any forest, just selling it because they make some money. I'm very unhappy about that. I have a long-term view, which is I mean, my friends, they live in some nature.
We rush. But if we make it a point to take time for ourselves, we're only healing the world. During my meditation earlier this morning, woke up Saturday, day off, first somebody was singing outside, I just heard, so that was awesome. Anywho, I woke up, had a fresh start to the day off. There were so many things I wanted to do, there were so many things I had to do. And somehow, some way I took it step by step and got a lot done. And I absorbed the task that I was doing at hand, rather than racing to get it done to move on to the next task. And during my meditation, it was hard at times because I wanted to get up and do whatever I was thinking about, whatever my mind was racing. Do this, do that. It's your day off. You have time. Don't waste it. And it was hard to be like, and breathe through it. And it felt really, really good.